So now we are going to make a classical Italian starch preparation called as polenta. So polenta is usually had like a porridge by itself, or is commonly had as an accompaniment to a meat main course. So for that we have polenta, which is basically made from corn. It is a little coarse. Then we have milk. So it is, because it is made like a porridge, we use milk. You can use a mixture of milk and stock or milk and water. Then we have some flavorings. We have some chili flakes, mixed herbs, some garlic. You can use other flavorings of your choice. You can use fresh herbs. You can use finely chopped vegetables, some green peas. But today we are going to use dry herbs and chili flakes. We are going to finish the polenta with some butter and some parmesan cheese, and of course salt and some white pepper powder. If you see there, we are going to layer the polenta in a greased pie dish. So we are going to use a pie dish over here because we want to make polenta cakes. We don't want to serve it like a porridge, so we are going to use a pie dish. To start with the polenta, we will take a saute pan. The proportion to make a good polenta is 1:4. So one part of the polenta to 4 parts of the liquid, which is your milk and water or your milk and stock mixture. So we've already measured the liquid. So we are adding the milk and the water mixture first, and we've taken 1 part of the polenta, and that straight away goes into the pan. And on a low to medium flame, you'll keep whisking this until the polenta thickens up. So this will take time. It will take about 5 minutes. On a low to medium flame, you will keep mixing it until it becomes thick. At any point of time, if you feel that you need more milk, you can add more milk. Halfway through, I'm going to add all the flavorings except the garlic. We are going to fry the garlic separately and then add it to the polenta. We are going to add a few strands of saffron as well. That's not only going to add flavor but also add to a little color to the polenta. If you want a slightly darker yellow color to the polenta, you can also add a pinch of turmeric as well. To this, we'll add some salt and white pepper powder and mix this well until the polenta thickens. This will take about 10 minutes to thicken. So if you see here, the polenta is getting thick. So we are going to whisk this further until it completely cooks. So about 5 to 7 minutes have passed and the polenta here has thickened up completely. You can taste and see for the polenta whether it has got cooked or not. We are then going to add in the fried garlic. We had separately fried the garlic or sauteed the garlic. To this, now we are going to add a few blocks of butter, and we are going to add in some parmesan cheese. And just like your risotto, we are going to whisk the butter and the parmesan cheese into the hot cooked polenta. This is off the flame. So with the heat of the polenta, the butter and the cheese completely melts. Now we are going to line a greased pie dish with the cooked polenta. So then the butter is going to solidify and give that firmness to the polenta. Spread it evenly with the help of a spatula and then cool it down till room temperature and then put it inside the fridge to set. The polenta will not take more than 1 hour to set inside the fridge. And once it is set, we will cut them into cakes and then we shallow fry the polenta. So once the polenta has been set inside the fridge, as you can see here, we can take a cutter and cut the polenta into various sizes and shapes. So we are cutting the polenta into round cakes here. And then with the help of a small palette knife, you can demold the polenta onto a plate. Now either you can microwave this polenta or slightly steam it and serve it the way it is, or you can even shallow fry it in a pan. So we've taken a frying pan here. We've taken a little bit of olive oil. You can also substitute the olive oil with a little bit of butter. We are going to dust the polenta in flour and shallow fry the polenta cakes on both the sides until they become nice and golden brown in color and they become hot from within. Be very careful, because once the polenta becomes hot, the butter which has actually set the polenta then melts, and the polenta cakes then again start becoming soft. So it's a little difficult to handle the polenta cakes while they get hot. Once they get golden brown on both the sides, you can take them off carefully onto a plate, and they are ready for presentation. So now we are making another Italian specialty, which is ossobuco. So for that we need lamb shanks. You can also use veal shanks. We are going to make a meat stock and a tomato based sauce with it. So for that we have onions, celery, carrot, leeks, onions and some rosemary. We have some tomato puree. You can use some canned tomatoes or fresh concussed tomatoes as well. We have some red wine here, which classically goes in the ossobuco. We have some seasoning, we have some salt and some crushed black pepper. We have some seasoned refined flour in which we are going to dust the lamb shanks and then sear them. Of course, we have some meat stock. So we had mutton bones. So we made a good strong bodied meat stock, which is going to be the body or the base of our sauce. So the lamb shanks are going to get slow cooked in the sauce. We have some olive oil here to sear the lamb shanks, and then we're going to finish the dish with some gremolata, which is nothing but finely chopped parsley. We didn't have parsley here, so we're going to use some coriander, some lime zest, some lime juice and some finely chopped garlic. So to begin with, first we are going to season the lamb shanks. So we are just going to apply some salt and some crushed black pepper to the lamb shanks. You can keep this marinated for some time, but if you want to start cooking it at once, you can do that as well. So apply salt and pepper well to the lamb shanks. We take a heavy bottom skillet. Take some olive oil, keep it on a high flame since we are searing the meat. That means we are just browning the meat from the outside, and then we are going to slow cook the shanks. We have some seasoned refined flour here, so we are going to dust the lamb shanks well in the flour. Take off all the excess flour because that will only burn inside the oil. Put it inside the pan in the hot oil and let it sear. This will be done on a high flame. Once it gets brown, the meat gets brown on all sides, you will take it out on a fresh plate. So see here, it's got a nice golden brown crust on the outside. In the same pan, in the same fat, we are going to saute the garlic first. So we are going to make the sauce in the same pan, so we have all the flavorful stuck sediments of the meat in the pan as well. In that we are going to add in the rosemary. Then we add in the onion, celery, carrot and the leeks all at once. Saute that well for about a minute. Then you add in the red wine. So we are not only adding the wine for flavor here, but it also deglazes the pan. Then you add in the tomato puree, mix it well. Now we are going to add in the meat stock, because the lamb shanks have to cook inside this sauce. So add enough stock so that the lamb shanks get immersed in it. To this we are going to add in some crushed black pepper and some salt. Don't add too much salt, because as the sauce reduces, the concentration of the salt will increase. Add some bay leaf, and in that we are going to add in the seared lamb shanks. So if you see here, the lamb shanks are completely immersed inside the sauce, and we are going to keep this covered and let it cook on a low to medium flame for about 3 to 4 hours, or until the lamb shanks are cooked. So about 4 hours are done, and if you see here, the lamb shanks are completely cooked. Make sure midway of the cooking of the lamb shanks you turn the lamb shanks. So if you see here, the sauce has also thickened up, the lamb is cooked. We will strain the sauce through a muslin cloth into another saucepan. So if you see here, this is the strained sauce. It is still a bit thin, so I'm going to keep it again on a high flame to reduce and thicken. So once that is done, just to end the sauce, we are going to monte it with some cold butter. So we are adding a butter and we are whisking it so that it forms an emulsion and the sauce becomes slightly thicker. So that is the ossobuco sauce that we are going to serve with the meat. Now here, because we are doing a little fine dine dish, so we've strained the sauce. Traditional ossobuco can be served with the unstrained sauce as well. For plating, you place the polenta. Usually the lamb shanks, the ossobuco is served with a risotto, a saffron flavored risotto called as risotto milanese. But since we've already shown you how to make a mushroom risotto, we are going to accompany the ossobuco with the polenta cakes. So place the polenta cakes. On top of that, you can place the ossobuco, the lamb shank, and then you can pour the sauce on top. So you see that the sauce has got a nice thickness and glaze to it, and extremely flavorful because of the meat stock as well as the flavor from the lamb shank. Top it up with the gremolata and serve it at once. Thank you.